Your bread is quietly damaging your health, and the companies behind it know exactly what they're doing. That loaf you picked up yesterday, it's packed with ingredients banned in several countries, additives linked to cancer, diabetes, and behavioral issues in kids. Yet here in the UK, they're completely allowed. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to reveal the 8 bread brands you should steer clear of, and the reasons why. I'll break down what's actually inside them, how those chemicals impact your body, and most importantly, what you should be choosing instead. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a supermarket loaf the same way again. Number 8. Warburton's. I can already hear the objections. But Warburton's is a national staple, and yes, it is everywhere, which is exactly why this needs to be discussed. Pick up a simple Warburton's white loaf and check the ingredients. You'll see something called E472E. Looks harmless, just another code. But E472E is really mono and diacetyl tartaric acid esters of mono and diglycerides. Try repeating that without stumbling. It's an emulsifier, and while it's technically allowed, studies show emulsifiers can disrupt your gut microbiome. Your gut hosts trillions of organisms responsible for immunity, digestion, and even mood regulation. When that ecosystem is disturbed, it doesn't just affect your stomach, it affects your entire well-being. Many Warburton's breads also use flour treatment agents, including L-cysteine, which can come from duck feathers or human hair. Yes, you heard that correctly. The bread you're slicing for your kids may contain processed keratin from feathers or hair. Most people also don't realize that Warburton's relies on the Chorleywood bread process, a high-speed industrial method developed in the 1960s. Instead of fermenting dough for 12 to 16 hours like traditional bread, this method churns out loaves in under 3 hours using chemical enhancers, excessive yeast, and violent high-speed mixing. This destroys the natural structure of wheat proteins. That bloated feeling you get after a sandwich, that isn't normal. It's your body struggling to process bread that was chemically forced to rise. And because the dough never develops natural flavor, manufacturers compensate with added sugar, fat, and salt. You're essentially eating chemically strengthened foam disguised as bread. Number 7. Hovis. Hovis sells nostalgia. The iconic advert with the boy pushing his bike up the hill, the old-fashioned branding, the wholesome image. But when you turn the bag around, things look very different. Take their basic white loaf. It contains caramel coloring. And no, this isn't the caramel you make by melting sugar on the stove. Industrial caramel coloring can produce 4-MEI, a compound linked to cancer risk in animal studies. One slice won't harm you, of course, but eating it every day for years adds up. Hovis also uses processed palm oil, a cheap, nutritionally void fat used simply because it cuts costs. They market their products as healthy and traditional, but their ingredient lists read like chemistry homework. Emulsifiers, preservatives, flour treatment agents, vegetable oils, and soya flour. Why soy? Because it's cheaper and helps dough rise faster. But unless labeled otherwise, it's almost certainly GMO. And their wholemeal bread. They mill wheat, strip out the nutritious parts, turn it into white flour, and then add some of the bran back later to legally call it wholemeal. Real wholemeal flour is never separated in the first place. Number 6. Kingsmill. Kingsmill proudly advertises their great white range. But great for who? Certainly not your blood sugar. Their white loaves have a glycemic index around 175, higher than table sugar. That means your blood sugar spikes, your pancreas dumps insulin, and soon after you crash, leaving you tired, hungry, and craving more carbs. Do that day after day, and you increase your risk of insulin resistance, weight gain, and type 2 diabetes. And here's where it gets sneaky. Their supposedly healthier 50/50 loaf contains high fructose glucose syrup. This sweetener is tied to fatty liver, obesity, and metabolic syndrome. It's added because it makes the bread subtly sweet, pushing the addictive response that keeps you buying more. Even their tasty wholemeal version lists sugar as the second ingredient. If sugar is one of the first things on the label, you're not eating bread. You're eating cake in disguise. Kingsmill frequently uses rapeseed, canola oil, which is highly refined and can contain naturally occurring trans fats, the kind linked to heart disease. They're technically within regulations, but that doesn't make it healthy. And don't forget, Kingsmill is owned by Associated British Foods, the same company that runs Primark. They know exactly how to maximize profit using the cheapest possible inputs. Number 5. Sainsbury's own brand. Many people assume supermarket own brand products are just cheaper versions of the same thing. But with Sainsbury's bread, cheaper often means more corner cutting. Their value white loaves use calcium propionate, a preservative that stops mold, but research has linked it to behavioral problems in children: irritability, poor sleep, hyperactivity, and difficulty focusing. One study in the Journal of Pediatrics and Child Health found symptoms worsened when children consumed it and improved when it was removed. Their budget flour is extremely low grade, often bleached and stripped of natural nutrients. Synthetic vitamins are added afterwards to meet legal requirements, but your body doesn't absorb them nearly as well. What does bleaching actually mean? Instead of letting flour whiten naturally over months, they use chemicals like chlorine dioxide or benzoyl peroxide to do it instantly. Chlorine dioxide can react with proteins to produce alloxan, a chemical used to induce diabetes in lab animals. They also use monoglycerides and diglycerides, often derived from unspecified animal fats. If you're vegan or avoid pork, you may be consuming something you'd never knowingly choose. Number 4. Asda Smart Price. Ever wonder how a loaf can cost 50 pence? Here's your answer. Asda Smart Price bread is formulated for maximum profit and minimum quality. The flour is the lowest grade on the market, heavily processed, chemically bleached, and stripped of nutrients. One of the worst additives here is azodicarbonamide, a dough conditioner also used in yoga mats and shoe soles. When heated, it breaks down into compounds considered possible carcinogens. It's allowed in the UK, but why accept that risk? The flour comes from low-grade wheat, ground at high temperatures that destroy nutrients. Sugar is added to speed up yeast activity, and excess salt boosts flavor artificially and makes you thirsty, conveniently encouraging you to buy a drink alongside your sandwich. Their white loaf has under 1 gram of fiber per slice. Without fiber, digestion slows, toxins build up, and bloating and constipation follow. Number 3. Tesco Value. Tesco's budget bread uses many of the same tactics, but adds modified wheat starch into the mix. This is made by altering starch through chemicals, heat, or even radiation, creating a soft texture that lasts longer, but can cause bloating, gas, and digestive discomfort. Like Asda, their loaves contain extremely low fiber. They also use vague vegetable oil, which often means highly refined rapeseed, soybean, or palm oil, fats that are oxidized, inflammatory, and nutritionally empty. Chronic inflammation, which these oils contribute to, is a silent precursor to heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and even cancer. What frustrates me most is that Tesco, as the UK's biggest supermarket, could produce healthier bread at scale. Instead, they choose profit over quality. Number 2. Lidl Baker's Life. Lidl's bakery section feels artisanal, the smell of warm bread drifting through the aisles. But the truth is far less charming. Most of Lidl's bread is part-baked. It's produced in factories overseas, partially baked, frozen, shipped to the UK, and then finished in store. That irresistible smell, it's just the final 10 to 15 minutes of baking. Part-baked bread needs extra preservatives to survive freezing and transport, many of which don't need to be declared because they're classified as processing aids. There's also quality control. In 2018, plastic fragments were found in Lidl bread. In 2020, metal pieces were discovered. These incidents keep happening. Lidl's white loaves also contain dextrose, another form of sugar, paired with refined flour, delivering intense blood sugar spikes. And despite the freshly baked marketing, the freezing process damages the dough's structure, forcing manufacturers to add gums, gluten, and emulsifiers. And their salt levels? Some loaves contain more than 1 gram per 100 grams, meaning 4 slices give you nearly a third of your daily recommended limit. Number 1. Aldi Village Bakery now for the worst offender. Aldi has changed budget shopping, but their bread is where cost-cutting goes too far. Some Village Bakery loaves contain potassium bromate, a flour improver banned in the EU, Canada, Brazil, and China due to cancer concerns. It's still found in some UK bread via loopholes. Most of it converts to bromide during baking, but not all, and the long-term effects of tiny daily doses are unknown. Their standard loaves also contain the highest salt levels I've seen, up to 0.4 grams per slice. Eat 6 slices in a day, breakfast toast plus lunch sandwiches, and you're at 2.4 grams of salt from bread alone. They also use calcium sulfate, essentially plaster of Paris, as a dough conditioner and calcium supplement. It can interfere with iron absorption and irritate digestion. Aldi promotes German quality, but real German bread is made with whole grains, sourdough cultures, and long fermentation. Aldi's UK bread uses German efficiency with the cheapest possible ingredients, not the quality German bread is known for. So what should you eat instead? Don't panic, there are good options. Choose bread with fewer than 7 ingredients from small local bakeries. True sourdough, just flour, water, salt, is ideal. Long fermentation breaks down gluten, lowers glycemic impact, and improves digestion. From supermarkets, look for better quality brands like Bertinet, Artisan Grains, or Bayona Organic. They cost more, but you're paying for real food. Or bake your own. A basic no-knead recipe takes 5 minutes of work and costs around 40 pence per loaf. you control every ingredient. Or diversify completely. Sourdough rye, sprouted grain bread, or even lettuce wraps can change the way your body feels. The goal isn't to stop eating bread, it's to eat bread that supports your health instead of undermining it. So tell me, do you buy any of these brands? Have you noticed how your body reacts after eating them? Comment below. I genuinely want to hear your experience. And if this opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to know what's actually inside their everyday loaf.